Hi everyone, I'm Pam and welcome to my makeup channel. Today, though I'm usually a big fan of colorful eye looks, I am doing a very natural looking makeup look featuring the Tartelette in Bloom palette as well as some of my other favorites. So if this is a look you're interested in seeing how I got, then please keep watching. Alright, so to start with this natural makeup look, I am going to do a whole lot of moisturizing. I am taking my Neutrogena Hydro Boost gel cream, and even though I have already moisturized this morning, given that it's the dead of winter and just so cold and dry outside, my skin really can't get enough of moisturizer, so just want to make sure it's all primed and looking nice and dewy before we do this makeup look. I'm also going to take the Hydro Boost eye cream and just pat a little bit of that on my under eyes because they get dry too. Just patting and rubbing that under there. And that is good. And also going to take a lip balm. This is the Moody Bee Lip Balm. I've been using these quite a while lately. They're a Canadian company, which I always like to support. Just slathering that all over the place. So I'm going to give all of that just a second to sink in. This is my first makeup video from my new apartment. I'm sitting at my new makeup vanity. I will flip the camera around so you can see it. I'm pretty happy with it. Also, you can see Lily in the background of my video here. I'm not sure if she's been on this channel before, but yeah, if you have any feedback about like the lighting or the positioning or anything, I'd be happy to hear that. I'm still trying to test things out. I think this will work pretty well, although I foresee in the future I'll likely have to stop filming a number of times because Lily will be eating her butt or humping something in the background. So that's something to look forward to, I guess. But all right, now we're going to continue on with the skin, and I'm going to take my most low coverage item, which is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue, and this is a tinted hydrating gel cream. This isn't even particularly in my shade. It's a little too warm for me, but it's so light coverage that it doesn't really matter. So just taking a bit of that and spread it on my fingers and just pat it around my face and rub it in a little bit. This is just really gonna even out skin tone a little. I've got a few sort of reddish spots near my nose, around my mouth. That's just gonna take care of those a little. Also, given that it's a little warmer, it is going to warm me up just a smidge. And honestly, I could use some warmth, given that I haven't had any sun in forever. I'm just gonna take a flat kabuki brush to do the final sort of blending and stippling into the skin. I found, because I always have such a problem with products pilling up on me, that it's worse when I blend with my fingers. As much as I like to use my hands, it's worse. I don't know if it's just like the actual physical motion of rubbing my hands on my face, or if there's like the natural oils in my hands is making it pill up. But if I use a brush or a sponge, there's a lot less pilling. So I don't know if that's helpful for anyone else out there, but that's what I like to do now. So now that we're done that, we're going to go in just with a little concealer, and I'm going in with my Glossier Stretch Concealer in G11. Oh, I forgot to mention, my Bare Minerals is in Buttercream 03. Again, a little warm for me. I would try something else next time. And I'm just going to take this again on my finger and just put it where I want some extra coverage, even though, again, this is a very light coverage. I'm going to just dot it under my eyes because I tend to get, you know, you can kind of see the veins through my skin. It's so thin under there. So I'm just going to sort of pat that under the eyes. I'm not going up too far because I don't want to worry about creasing right under the eyes. So I'm just keeping it just a little bit down. And then I've got a little redness on my chin. And I'll just put some sort of on the sides of my nose. That's another place where I tend to get a little bit red. And again, I'm just going to take my brush. You could use a concealer brush if you want for this, but since I've already got product on this, go ahead and not dirty another brush. So the next thing is eyebrows, and given how sparse my eyebrows are, especially in the tails, it's very difficult to get a natural looking brow. I really want to try something like the Brow Flick to try to do the individual strokes on my eyebrows, but I don't have one of those products as of yet. So I'm just going in with my favorite Quo brow powder in dark brown. It's just a loose dark brown powder. You could probably use, any other brand, or even just a dark brown or whatever color your eyebrows are, eyeshadow for it. And I'm going in on this tiny little brush by Moda. I'm not sure what the name is, but I love this brush for my eyebrows now. It's just so small, and it really helps to like keep control over where you're putting that powder down. So we'll just do that. I often see people going in and they go heaviest or darkest on the tails and then sort of lighter up at the front of the brow. And I guess that's the kind of like Instagram brow look, but I don't find that particularly natural looking, especially for me where I have almost nothing in the tails. I'd rather keep that part lighter and then go a little heavier at the front. See, I really like how that powder comes out. And we'll just do the other one. All right, so once I've got the brows on, I'm just going to take a little spoolie and just brush through them a little, especially at the front. Don't want to brush them too far at the back because, again, I'll probably just rub off that pigment if I try too hard during that little tail. So there we go with the brows. Now, just before I start on the eyes, I'm going to go in with my Cheekbone face palette, and I'm just going to take this it's like a highlighting powder, brightening powder. Just put it on a kind of fluffy precision brush and just pat it under the eyes a little bit. Just the Glossier Stretch Concealer doesn't always like to dry down, which I actually like because with dry skin it's nice to have a sort of wetter concealer, but I'm just going to just set that down a little bit. Probably could have done that before my brows. And now for eyes, I'm going to be using my Tartlette in Bloom palette. I really like this one for a sort of brown neutrally palette. It's just got like beautiful colors. It's mostly mattes, and I really love how it's got your like cool, your neutral, and your very warm tones here. So you don't have to use this. You can use any sort of neutral brown palette that you prefer. I'm going to start by going in with a larger shading brush. So this is the Luxie Large Shader. And I'm going to go in with Flower Child, which is a color that's fairly close to my skin tone. And I'm just going to put this all over the lid, from the lash line all the way up to the brow. It's just going to even out any discoloration there, make everything all the same, and make it easier for blending later on. I'm not using a primer today. You can use it if you've got oilier lids, but I've never really had a problem with creasing with this palette, and since I'm going for a natural look, I'm not trying to make it, the most pigmented or the most color payoff as possible for this look. So now that I've done with that, I'm going to go in with a combination of Smoke Show and Activist, which are these two dark colors here. And I'm going to have a very, very light hand while I'm doing this. So I'm going in with my Kaleidos small blending brush, I think, and I'm basically just gonna like tap a little bit into each and then really tap that off because I don't want too much. So I'm mostly going to be focusing just on the outer V sort of, so on the outer corner of the lid. And then once that's sort of patted in and I've got most of the pigment off the brush, then I will take it a little bit through the crease. You can see that's very subtle. I'm just going to dip in one more time and basically do the same thing. So patting first on that outer corner and then sort of blending along the lash line and up into the crease. And I'm holding the brush very low, so away from the actual bristles, just to get a really light hand in doing all of this. Alright, so you can just see it, the little darkening, a little extra depth there, and now I'm just going to go in with the other eye. Alright, so now I've got the outer corners of both eyes done, and now I'm going to go in with Smarty Pants, which is just this, a shade up from Funny Girl. It's a rather neutral shade, just a little bit darker than my skin tone, so, you know, use whatever fits that description for whatever palette you're using. And then again, I'm just going to pat over the lid, so I'm covering up a little bit of the darker color that got more onto the lid than I wanted. I'm not taking it all the way out to the outer corner, just, you know, about 2/3 of the way or 3/4 of the way there. Now I'm going to take a flat angled brush and I'm going to just go very tight in along the lash line. Again, I'm going in with those two darker colors at once. And just going like right up under the lashes. This powder is such a good liner, I find. And we can just take a little bit extra and go sort of up onto the top lash, and then we're going to blend that out again once it's done. And then maybe just a little bit on the corner. And if you ever find something's not blending well, or if it's feeling a little bit darker on one side than another, then you can always take a fluffy, clean blending brush, not the one you used the first time, and just sort of blend and pat it out until it's looking good for you. So now just to add a little bit of highlighting, I'm going to go in with Charmer, which is basically like a white cream color, and I'm just going to put that just under my brow bone. Not going to see this a whole bunch, but it does just brighten up the area a little bit. And you can also take that a little into the inner corner if you'd like. Now that's a good sort of matte, kind of natural looking look. If you're someone who doesn't feel complete without a little bit of shimmer in your look, I'm just going to go in with Funny Girl here and just pat it on my finger and just sort of very, very lightly pat it over my lid. Just sort of the inner part and the middle part. I think shimmer can still be fairly natural looking. And it just gives it that little extra. So if you're finding, like I am right now, that the lower lash line is just a little intense compared to the upper lid, you can just take a Q-tip. I'm taking a dry Q-tip and just sort of smudge out the lower lash line a little bit just to remove a tiny bit of the powder and make it a little more subtle. Okay, and to finish up the eyes, I'm going to take the Glossier Lash Slick Mascara. You can use what you like. I find that this is the most natural looking mascara. It gives so much definition to my eyelashes. Just makes them a little darker, a little thicker, but it doesn't, it never clumps up and it doesn't look like I'm wearing a ton of mascara. So I honestly really love this stuff for just making my eyelashes pop a little more without looking like I'm wearing a whole lot of product. And I tend to focus it around my, around the outer corners. And also do a little on the lower lash line. I just barely touch my lower lash line. I don't like to make a mess. Okay, so that's it for the eyes. Now we want a little bit of blush just to bring a little bit of life to the face. I'm going to use the Quo Featherweight Cream Blush. This is in Angelic, which is kind of a bubblegum pink color. Go with whatever color looks natural on you. If you blush very red, use a red with a very light hand, or if you've got pinky, or if you're more of a peachy person. So I'm just taking very little of this. And usually I like my blush sort of up on the cheekbones, but with this, I want to sort of fake a natural flush, like I've just had a glass of red wine or something. So I am going to focus more on the apples of the cheeks here. And then I'm going to take my fairly dense blush brush here. This is a crown brush. This is my favorite one for blending in these cream eyeshadows. So I'm going to focus on the apple and then just sort of bring it back as I go. These lighter colors, you can probably get away with blending them in with your fingers, but since I tend to wear the darker ones, I like a brush. I find it spreads the product around better. Alright, so now I'm a little bit more blushy, and we're going to do lips now. So I've just started doing this technique that I really like. I'm going in with my Moody Bee again, just putting on another layer of my lip balm. And for a kind of no lipstick look, I'm taking the Cheekbone lipstick. This is in the color Keyah, and it's sort of like a nice mauve-y sort of color. So since my lips are already so moisturized and so balmy, we're not going to get a whole lot of color payoff from this. It's not going to transfer all that much, but that is exactly what I'm going for. So I'm just going to sort of drag and pat it along until I get a little bit of the color coming through, but it doesn't look too matte because it's a matte lipstick, but it doesn't look too matte and it doesn't look too pigmented. Just giving a sort of nice kind of natural looking your lips, but better kind of finish. And of course, they're still very balmy from all the balm on. Now, of course, if you're eating, drinking, this isn't going to last very long, so you might have to reapply this, but that's okay, especially now in the winter. I'm reapplying my lip balm all the time anyway, so yeah, I really like that. So I'll just zoom you in for a closer look, and then we will wrap this up. So that's it. Skin is looking very dewy. I really like this pink flush on the cheeks and this no lipstick look. Also, the eyes are pretty natural looking, even though we've got a bit of shimmer on there. They still look fairly natural, just the extra darkness giving a little bit more depth to them, but still, you know, not looking like you're wearing a ton of makeup. I'm going to try this without the ring light. This is my first time with the ring light, and I'm kind of feeling like it's washing me out a little, so let's see what I look like without it. So there's without the ring light, and just in natural light, you can see still looks good, still looks pretty natural, and yeah. So that's it for this natural looking makeup look. Leave me a comment, let me know what you thought. If there's any other kind of looks or types of videos you'd like me to make in the future, please let me know. I do have some new products coming in some point in the near future. With all the stress of moving and everything in January, I was doing a lot of retail therapy, just spending way too much money on things I don't need, but some of that is also new makeup, so I'm looking forward to trying it out. But anyway, thanks so much for watching from me and Lily, who's sleeping back there and was very good all video. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.